Dragons, ladies and gentlemen, they're all over One Piece right now. There's a dragon over there. There's a dragon over there. There's a dragon. I am being very mean to my clipboard lately. I'm sorry, clipboard. It won't happen again. But there's a dragon over there, and then there's a dragon over there, okay? So today, we're talking about dragon, like the original dragon, the first dragon to ever appear in One Piece. Unless Shanks is a dragon. Is Shanks a dragon? Nobody would be surprised if Shanks was a dragon. Alright, today we're talking about Monkey D. Dragon, the father of Monkey D. Luffy and the son of Monkey D. Garp. There's probably a story there. Not really sure how that went, but we'll probably find out about that at some point. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Dragon's next move, okay? Because everything's going on in Wano right now. It's really interesting. Dragons, we're focusing on that. But meanwhile, the Revolutionary Army is gearing up, ladies and gentlemen. We're moving into the final saga of One Piece, which means Dragon's finally gonna make his move, okay? He's been biding his time for this entire series, barely appearing, but now he's ready to take center stage, okay? One little problem. His chief of staff may be dead or captured. We're not really sure, but that's why Dragon's going to figure it out. He's on the case, like Batman. Go watch the Funimation dub of One Piece, and that'll make a lot more sense. Dragon basically just sounds like Christian Bale Batman in that. I'm Monkey D. Dragon. I'm here to free the world from the Tenryubito, and the Joker, and the Penguin, and Two-Face, and, oh man, it's been a while since I've seen any sort of Batman media. Who was that one guy? Clayface. I always liked Clayface. He's pretty funny in Harley Quinn Adventures. Yeah. So, let's first talk about the initial plan that Dragon and the Revolutionary Army had at the Reverie, okay? So, Sabo, Morley, Karasu, and Lindbergh invaded Reverie, and they were, attempting to declare war on the Tenryubito. Now, we don't exactly know what they were planning on doing, like if they were just gonna, burn down the Tenryubito city, that's a way of declaring war, because that wasn't their end game right there. That was just, the opening salvos of, the Revolutionary Army directly declaring war and, we are going to fight the world government now. Up until now, they've been opposing the world government by going around to different islands and, liberating them, but this would have been, there's no going back, okay? The world government would have no choice but to direct their attention toward the Revolutionary Army, alright? So we don't know what they were planning on doing there, but there was something big in the works. However, that kind of got a wrench thrown in it, because that's when Sabo saw Kuma being tortured as, the PX-0 and being treated as, a pack horse, basically. And so that really pissed Sabo off and the rest of the commanders, and they're like, okay, before we leave here, we have to rescue Kuma, alright? And so, after that, some stuff happened, and apparently they fought against Fujitora as well as Green Bull, the two admirals that were present at Reverie. That happened on the 4th day of Reverie, and then after that, at this point in the story where the Straw Hats are at in Wano, in the present storyline, Reverie has concluded. Sabo is apparently dead. Morgan's printed a newspaper article that claimed as such. Everybody was really shocked by it. We don't exactly know if the article said, Sabo dead, but considering the reactions that everybody had to it, it seems pretty clear, that's what it said. I mean, even if the article said, Sabo, the second in command of the Revolutionary Army, captured by the world government. If it said captured, I don't think the people would be like Koala would be Koala was in tears, okay? And we all know Koala is going to be shipped with Sabo, so obviously the article probably said Sabo dead in big, bold letters there, okay? And Dragon was even kind of taken aback by that, and it takes a lot to have Dragon show emotions, alright? So there was something going on there. So, Sabo is obviously not dead. He's probably been captured, and Morgan's just printed that he was dead, alright? So Dragon is like, okay, everybody, everybody just calm down. We need to figure out if this is true or not. We need to confirm it ourselves. Ivankov, we're going after the Joker. He's probably behind this. Alright, so they gotta figure out if Sabo is alive or what the situation with that is. So does that mean Dragon himself is going to go to Mariejois? I would say that considering Sabo is the chief of staff, the second in command of the entire army, and, the newspaper's printing that he's dead at Mariejois after fighting two admirals, I feel like that would warrant the head of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon, to go and make sure that that was, true or false, himself. Which actually might be what the Tenryubito and the Gorosei want. They're like, hey, we captured Sabo. we're gonna tell Morgans to print an article that Sabo is dead, and then Dragon himself is probably going to come and confirm it at Mariejois, and then boom, that's when we'll have Monkey D. Dragon, the world's most wanted man, right here in our backyard, and we can capture him, and then finally we can put an end to this revolutionary army, okay? Because the assumption would probably be by the Gorosei that if you, like, chop off the head, the body dies. So if you take care of Dragon and Sabo, you know, the revolutionary army won't be able, I mean, they'll still be around, but they won't be as much of a threat. It's really implied that Dragon is the reason why the revolutionary army has gained as much traction. In the 800 years that the world government has just unabashedly ruled the entire world, you don't think there's been other revolutions? You don't think there's been other attempts at, you know, wiping out the Tenryubito or taking Mariejois or Castle Pangea? Of course there's been. There's probably ones that pop up every century, and the world government usually manages to crush them no problem. Maybe with their giant dragons, back when they had those. But for right now, this revolutionary army in particular, led by Dragon, is giving them a lot of problems, because he is very smart. He has a really powerful devil fruit that can apparently control the damn weather, so it's like, alright, we need to figure out a way to lure him to Mariejois. There'll probably be a lot of casualties, there'll probably be a big battle, but if we can take out Dragon, everything will be okay. And up until now, keep in mind, the home base of the Revolutionary Army was always elusive. Like, they did not know where Baltigo was, and they don't know it's on the Kamabaka Kingdom right now either, okay? So Dragon is definitely not the kind of guy that, like, directly opposes the world government, like, cracks his knuckles, and it's like, alright, I'm gonna lead the charge to Castle Pangea. He's not gonna do that, alright? Because that's kind of like playing into the world government's hand here, but in this one instance, it's like, we have to make sure Sabo is alive. And if these admirals are present at Mariejois, like, what if they keep Fujitora and Green Bull stationed at Mariejois? Well, no, they didn't, because Fujitora is now heading toward Amazon Lily with Kobe to bring in Boa Hancock. See, that's the thing. I think the world government, you know, abolishing the warlord system, it was a smart thing to do that had to happen, but it's definitely going to come back to bite them in the butt, because now they're dividing their military strength all over the world, you know, and so there might not have as many people there at Mariejois when Dragon decides to come a-knockin'. Yeah, I think if Dragon goes to Mariejois to confirm it, one way or the other, that's gonna cause, like, a lot of, you know, turmoil. Like, you know, all of Mariejois and the Tenryubito City and Castle Pangea, that might just turn into a war zone right there. Vivi also might have been captured. I think that was actually something that was more or less confirmed, because Eam was really interested in Vivi, like longingly looking at her picture. So it's just like, okay, it would make sense that Vivi would be captured. He wants Shirahoshi to be eliminated, and Sabo would also be captured along the way. And so then you could have, like, Sabo and Vivi, like, in, like, the dungeons together, so they could, like, communicate, and they can talk about the Straw Hats and Luffy or whatever. That would be an interesting scene there. They can maybe attempt to escape Mariejois together. What are Karasu, Morley, and Lindbergh doing in the meantime? Did they report back to the Revolutionary Army, to Kamabaka? I would assume they would not, because they would not leave a man behind. Although, it might be a situation where Sabo was captured, and he's like, you guys gotta get back to Dragon! You gotta relay the information! Leave here! I'll be okay! And then, like, Karasu, whenever, like, Karasu is weeping, he's actually a big softy. He's like, no! He's like, sorry, I forgot to turn on my loudspeaker. No, Sabo! You know, but it might be a thing where, like, Lindbergh is like, get on my jetpack! We gotta get out of here! Morley jumps into the red line, and he could escape very easily. In fact, if it was even a situation where it's like Karasu and Lindbergh stay behind, actually, you know what? All three of them could escape from the red line very easily. Lindbergh has a steampunk jetpack, so he's a flying cat mink, so he could get away whenever he wants. Karasu can literally turn into a murder of crows and just fly away, and Morley can just just, like, you know, blorp into the ground and then escape that way. So, yeah, they could all get away easily. Sabo could escape as well, but it's very clear something did happen to him, so maybe he's not as adept at using the Maranomi to, like, fly. Because I imagine he could use, like, you know, like, his feet or his hands as, like, jet propulsion, like Iron Man, like the repulsors or whatever, and just fly away. But that takes a lot of training. Ace, we didn't even really see doing that, so maybe that's a lot of training to get to that point with the Maranomi, right? Like, to fly when you turn into fire, and maybe, like, long distances or whatever, okay? So I would imagine that the Revolutionary Army commanders, either some of them stayed at Mariejois. Probably Morley would make the most sense because Morley can just use his powers to hide and retreat into the Red Line. And what are the world government going to do about that, right? Like, because the Red Line is like this huge mass of rock that basically Morley can enter and exit as he sees fit, and he can mold like a little safe zone, like a little like panic room inside of it whenever he wants to. So, if he decides to leave and go 3 miles down, like the world government can't do anything about that, all right? If it's like he's in the bedrock of the Red Line, so that would make the most sense. Karasu could always turn into birds and fly away, but he could get shot down by the world government. Same thing with Lindbergh. So I think it would probably make most sense for Karasu to leave Mariejois, turn into birds, and fly back to the Revolutionary Army base and relay the information to Dragon and Ivankov and Koala about, okay, here's what happened at Mariejois. Sabo's not really dead. Don't believe the news media. He's been captured. We have to go save him, okay? And then it would make sense for maybe Lindbergh and Morley to stay behind as, like, reconnaissance to make sure, like, Morley can make the little room inside of the Red Line, and then, Lindbergh could peek his head out and, like, look around to do some scouting. He looks like he's pretty good at, like, being stealthy. He's a cat, after all, It's just, like, he's in the alleyway in the Tenryubito city, and he's, like, spying on the Celestial Dragons, and then like he knocks something over, and the Tenryubito are like, what was that? What was going on down that alley? And Lindbergh's like, shit, meow. He just like meow. It's like, it's just a cat. All right, let's go. Like that would be pretty funny if they just think Lindbergh's a cat, and it's like, okay, all right, I'm good. Now I'm just gonna spy on them, using my steampunk technology and all that stuff. Okay, and so that would make most sense because unless they have Den Mushi, but remember the Den Mushi, they can be bugged with the black Den Mushi, but also then there's the white Den Mushi that blocks the wiretapping, and we know that Dragon has one of those. So maybe they could communicate that way, but I think it would make more sense for Karasu to just leave, go back and report in, and Morley to stay there because he can come and go as he pleases pretty much, right? Okay. Especially if the world government does not know about his devil fruit. Like, the world government knows that there was, well, they don't even know that because Impel Down sort of covered it up, because Morley was the person that created the new Kama Land, that like little ant colony, like series of tunnels in Impel Down between level 5 and 6. But the guards don't actually know that place exists. So Morley's devil fruit might be a complete unknown to them, okay? They might think he has the ability to teleport or something. Like, if they actually witnessed it in action, they might not think that, oh, he has the ability to enter bedrock whenever he wants. Oh, wait, doesn't that mean he can pretty much just get to Mariejois at his leisure whenever he desires? Yeah, he does. I'm like, oh, well, that's a problem, because Morley is a giant. He's like 180 years old, so he's had his devil fruit for probably a really, really long time. It's like one of those devil fruits like the time fruit. Obviously not to that extent, but it's been out of circulation for so long, people might not even know it exists. Morley's had his for so long, it's just like, okay, well, the push fruit, this ability to enter bedrock, it's just like an earth whenever you want, is like the world government might not even know that exists, and if they don't, then that gives Morley a huge advantage there, okay? Okay, but let's say, okay, Karasu goes back, tells tells Dragon, but okay, let's say Karasu goes back to Kamabaka, tells Dragon. Dragon's like, all right, we need to figure this out on our own. Maybe he might change the plan altogether. It's like the original plan was just to, like, kidnap a Tenryubito, or to, like, burn their city down and, like, to announce war. But now they're the ones that kind of got a one-up on us by capturing Sabo. So they're the ones that have effectively, instead of the Revolutionary Army declaring war on the Tenryubito have effectively declared war on the Revolutionary Army. No going back from here. Like, there's no pretenses anymore. They captured Sabo, their second in command. Dragon is going to be pissed about that, and he's just like, all right, oh, all right, if that's how they want to play it, that's how we're gonna play it. All right, Karasu, turn into a bunch of birds. We're gonna fly for Mariejois at dawn. And so maybe Ivankov, maybe Koala and Hack, I feel like would definitely want to come along because Sabo is like their best friend. Like, even if you want to say Sabo and Koala are not like in a relationship, they've trained together ever since, Sabo first joined the Revolutionary Army. So it would make sense for them to want to go too. Maybe we'll get to see some of the vice captains, I guess, of the Revolutionary Army. There was the one that Bello Betty worked under her. I forget her name, but it's literally just duck. Like, it means duck in Japanese. Japanese. There's one that's like a cow mink that I think works under Lindbergh. I don't think we know Morley's vice captain or Karasu's vice captain, all right? And then obviously Sabo was the vice captain to Dragon, and Inazuma's the vice captain to Ivankov. So maybe Ivankov would go as well, Inazuma, and they would all go to Mariejois. They would meet up with Morley. Morley would like open up the red line, just like, hey, come in here, okay. And then they meet inside of the red line, and then they're like, okay, what are we gonna do, boss? And Dragon's like, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use your powers to gain access to the lower levels of Mariejois. Morley could do that. Like, couldn't Morley just enter the damn dungeon with the straw hat, like the freezer in the basement of Castle Pangea was like surrounded by metal, which if it's a freezer, I would assume it would be, but maybe not. Maybe it's lined with sea prism or something as added protection. But, you know, under normal circumstances, if it's just earth or rock or brick or whatever, he should be able just to open it and just get in, right? Well, anyway, Dragon would be like, all right, Lindbergh maybe found out where Sabo's being kept, or Morley. They're like, yeah, he's being kept in the lower levels of Castle Pangea in this dungeon area. And Dragon's like, all right, here's what's going to happen. I'll go topside into the Celestial Dragon City, whip up a giant freaking hurricane, and then you guys sneak into the dungeon, get Sabo and maybe Vivi or any other prisoners that are in there, get them out of there, because you know the government probably keeps like their top like political prisoners in Castle Pangea. Like, yeah, Impel Down itself is kind of meant for that, but then that's the thing. See, that's the thing. Like, Doflamingo is in Impel Down level 6. I feel like Doflamingo, being a celestial dragon, having all this information that the Tenryubito doesn't want to get out, like, Doflamingo might know about the existence of Eam. And that's, like, number one thing they do not want to get out to the world. I feel like they would have not sent Doflamingo to Impel Down. They would have just sent him to Castle Pangea and thrown him in the dungeons under that castle, which you know exist, right? Like, why would they keep him in level 6, like a separate area, and send an assassin? You think that, like, it's like, hey, we captured Doflamingo at Dressrosa. He tried to, like, kill everybody. And it's like, oh, okay, make sure to bring him to, not Impel Down, bring him to Mariejois, bring him to Redport. We're gonna need to interrogate him, you know, Gorosei want to personally interrogate him or something like that. You feel like that would be how, like, what happens with Doflamingo, but it isn't. So, I don't know. But you know there's prisoners in the castle. Like, there has to be, okay? It's the Tenryubito. It's the freaking Gorosei. So, Dragon goes into the city and whips up a huge hurricane. And the thing is, with his ability, like, he is so powerful. Like, he could do that, and, like, the Gorosei might realize what's going on. Like, holy shit, Dragon just opened up a hurricane in the middle of Mariejois. But, like, what are they gonna do about it right away? Right? Like, if Dragon is just like, all right, let's do this. For freaking Cat 6 hurricane just whips up. Like, I mean, the Gorosei are like, it's Dragon! Oh, what are we gonna do? I don't know, attack him? How are we gonna attack that? They wouldn't even know where he is, you know, because if Dragon has just complete control over the weather and storms and everything, like he's Storm from X-Men, then, like, he can basically just hide somewhere in the city, snap his fingers, start a freaking giant thunderstorm, hurricane, tornado, or whatever, all three at once, and then, you know, while all that chaos is going on, Tenryubitos are getting blown away, their houses are getting destroyed, or whatever. The rest of the Revolution Army can sneak into Castle Pangea, grab Sabo, get them out of there with Morley's ability, and then Dragon could, I mean, essentially fly on the wind. I can't imagine it would be that hard for Dragon to, like, okay, we're all good? Okay. He just whips up a super strong, like, tailwind and just blasts him off the side of Mariejois, but he'll be okay because he's Dragon, after all, right? He can probably maybe even fly with his ability, okay? Or he could just meet back up with Morley, or Lindbergh can grab him, or Karasu can grab him, or whatever, and they could just get out of there, okay? So, yeah, and then it's like, okay, well, it didn't work exactly as we planned, but we did declare war on the world government, and we got Sabo back! Everything works! And then maybe we can move into the final saga where, you know, the Straw Hats are going to arrive at Laugh-Tale, and then everybody's going to get there because they all want the One Piece, and then the world government will get involved, and then that's when the revolutionaries will get involved, and maybe that's when Luffy and Dragon will meet. You know, everybody sort of comes together, like drawn like moths to the flame at Laugh-Tale at the final part of this story, maybe, right? At any rate, I don't think Dragon is going to take this sitting down, and I think, like, since they're kind of already past the point of no return, Dragon's like, okay, I purposely avoided fighting in the front lines because all the setup that it takes to do a revolution, like, you can't just do a revolution overnight, right? Probably historically there has been a moment where there was a revolution that was done literally overnight. But my point is, like, Dragon was like, I'm hiding, I'm not, like, directly confronting the world government, I'm just freeing all the islands to kind of gain manpower and the faith of the people. But now they captured Sabo, and we were going to get into an all-out war with them anyway. This is finally the time for the battle. So now Dragon is like, screw it, I don't need to be in hiding anymore. I'm just going to directly attack them and see what they do. And so, okay, I'm pretty damn powerful. I don't think Dragon is that arrogant, but he's just like, no, this can work. We can get Sabo back, we'll start a war with the world government, and then we'll win. And that's basically what the goal of the Revolutionary Army was from day one. So why not do it now, right? I think everything is kind of in place to where it needs to be, right? So yeah, thanks for watching the video, everybody. And now we get to everybody's favorite segment. That's right, Capybara Facts! Capybaras, they are so cute. Capybaras, they like to eat fruit. Capybaras! Here is a root, capybaras today. All right, so today is on Capybara Facts. We're going to be talking about capybaras in the water. I mentioned last time they like to live by the water, but of course that means they also like to swim in the water. And as we also mentioned last time, capybaras are very, very chill, to the point where they can swim in the water, but mostly they just kind of like hang out and take naps in the water. And because they have, you know, they're aquatic partly, they can breathe underwater for about 5 minutes or so. And so a lot of times though, they've perfected and mastered the art of literally just kind of drifting in the water and just keeping their noses above water level to breathe so they don't drown, and then they can like just fall asleep like that, just floating in the water, just on the stream of the Amazon rainforest, just going downstream, not a care in the world, nothing messes with them except for jaguars. Apparently they probably have a few other predators, but they're extraordinarily chill. And also they can run on land pretty good as well. I mean, they're not super fast, but they're surprisingly agile given their frames, okay? So yeah, capybaras, they like to swim, they like to sleep while they swim. This has been Capybara Facts. Thanks for watching the video, everybody. This will be Tekking and Barry signing out. Later, everyone.